Hello and welcome to the session on bridging the disability divide with AI. I am joined by esteemed panelists Doc Joffrey, Duncan Miller, Patricio Escobar, and John Vicandala. There are key takeaways that we hope you would get out of this presentation. Number one, the most important, is concrete examples of how we early adopters with disabilities are using AI, how AI-driven technologies are currently impacting our lives today. Number two, for you, the audience, how you can begin the AI endeavor and continue your success in the AI journey with us. Number three, accessibility, which is a foundational thing that undergirds everything we are going to be talking about today. Let's begin there. Microsoft believes that accessibility is essential on how we create technologies that empower every person on the planet to achieve more, and there is no better person to talk about accessibility than my colleague, Doc Joffrey. Doc is a senior technical program manager at Microsoft, and he is a trusted member of the accessibility community. How are you, Doug?
I'm doing great, Ann. Great to be here.
I'm so glad you can join us. Lots happening this past year, isn't it?
A lot has been happening at a very fast pace.
Everything from the various learning models in AI to Copilot. I think Copilot is where AI is the most tangible to our audience. So, Doug, how do you ensure that Copilot is accessible to everyone, including persons with disability?
So every product at Microsoft, the goal is accessibility needs to be baked in, not an afterthought. And Copilot kind of gave us a fresh opportunity to apply the shift left principle. And by shift left, I mean, you basically include accessibility from the very beginning at the design time. I've been helping teams to understand and consider all accessibility concerns before the first line of code is even written. We also include, just as importantly, feedback from people with disabilities throughout the entire process, including after the product has even shipped. But bottom line, we strive to make everything understandable, efficient, and habituating. If we don't include those principles during the design process, we're going to likely fail. And that doesn't mean we always get it right. We don't always get it right. But the important thing is when we don't, that we listen and react to our users' feedback.
It's still a work in progress, isn't it, Doug?
Absolutely a work in progress, and always likely will always be a work in progress. But we are seeing good results. It is amazing to see the pace of Copilot being added to so many Microsoft products, and we're getting positive accessibility feedback. But more importantly, when we hear that we're not getting it right, that we do listen and we're committed to getting it right.
So, what does it look like? What is the accessible AI experience? Would you like to show us?
I would love to show you. I created a little demo that goes through and just shows Word. So I'm in Microsoft Word. I'm using Copilot Draft, and I'm going to base it on another document that I had. So I want to basically create something from scratch based on a different document that I've got. And here's the demo. I'd like to show the power of drafting new content within Word. I'm currently sitting on a blank document inside Word with Narrator running. I read a small document about why we should have a 4-day work week. Love that idea. I want to base my new document on that document, but expand on it. I'll use Copilot to draft my new document. Let me show how easy that is. Whenever I'm on a blank line in a document, I can press Alt-I to get the Draft with Copilot dialog. I'm on a blank document, so let me press Alt-I now.
Draft with Copilot. Create prompt group. Prompt. Edit. Describe what you'd like to write, including notes or an outline, and Copilot can generate a draft to help you get started.
I'm immediately in my edit where I can type my Copilot prompt. I'm going to type write an article about economic benefits of a 4-day work week based on. In order to save time, I already typed that text and copied it to my clipboard, so I'm going to just press Control V.
V. Pasted.
Again, I could have typed it, but didn't want to show my poor typing skills. I'm not quite ready to submit my prompt. I need to give Copilot the name of the document I want to reference. I can do this a couple of ways. I can tab to the Reference a File button in this dialog and invoke it, or easier yet, I can just hit the / key and suggestions will appear. Let me hit / now.
/ Suggestions available. Why should we have a 4-day workweek? Docs. 1 of 3. Selected. Toolbar.
Copilot, based on what I'm typing and what I was working with before, comes up with a list of possible suggestions for what I want. I could have typed other things to navigate away from this, but it happened to hit dead on the nail what I'm looking for, which is why the document that I wanted to reference. So I'm going to just hit enter to insert this document.
Prompt. Edit. Write an article about economic benefits of a 4-day work week based on why should we have a 4-day work week. Docs.
Okay, so it put in my document within my prompt. All I need to do now is tab to generate and hit enter. So I'm going to do that now.
Generate button. Creating a draft. Creating a draft. Group. Stop generating button. Combing through info. Working on it. Working on it. Working on it. Working on it. Draft with Copilot. Draft ready in document group. Keep it button.
So I'm told the draft is ready, and it's asking if I want to keep it. Of course, before I can determine if I want to keep it, I need to maybe read it. So I'm inside the draft dialog still, so I'm going to use a words command to just kind of navigate around the different panes. And to get to the canvas or the document area quickly, I'm just going to do Shift F6.
Document 3. Editing.
I'm at the end of the content, so I'm going to press Control Home to get to the top.
To end advanced proofing issue. Cap T.
And now I can just do narrator's continuous reading, which is narrator down arrow, to read through this. Let me do that now.
The economic benefits of a 4-day work week. How working less can boost productivity, well-being, and sustainability. Heading 1. Introduction. Many people dream of having more time to spend with their families, friends, hobbies, and passions. But how can they achieve this without
I silenced that by pressing the Control key, but it did create about a 3-page document based on my original 1-page document, and so it added a lot more richer content. So this is how easy it is to draft new content and start your writing career.
Thank you very much, Doug. This is exciting. Exciting for me. I hope it is exciting for our audience as well. We have many more people that we can learn from and talk to today that will guide us all on an AI journey. Duncan Miller, he is the head of designer from Kano's company, North America. He's been using AI. Duncan, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Yourself?
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You are part of the cool gang now, the disability community. Do you care to share with us your disability journey?
I've had a very interesting journey. Prior to actually kind of suffering from my own issues, I spent a bunch of time in a community called Rett Syndrome, working on addressing some neurodegenerative disorder and difficulties around that. And then I happened to have an event in my life which I underwent some trauma. I had a massive heart attack and died for 27 minutes. When they resuscitated me, it affected my ability to recall and my ability to keep things in my head. So from being a person that was a champion for the community, I've kind of shifted into the community itself. And now I'm one of the people that are suffers from something that affects my daily work. And, I feel in the beginning, I felt really, really lost about it, but seeing how technology is accommodating and filling these holes that I had has been an amazing experience for me. So I really feel like as somebody who was talking about the boat from the shore, I'm now sitting firmly in the boat and along with Copilot, finding a way forward.
Duncan, I'm so glad that you are better now and you are living a rewarding, independent life with the technology that is at your disposal every day. So AI is new. How do you learn about it? How do you even think about adopting AI when it's so new and hardly any information about accessibility and AI is out there? You're a pioneer, Duncan.
Well, actually, it was much easier than I thought it would be, and it was really quite simple because the first thing I did was I asked Copilot, "How do I use you, and how do I kind of include you in my life?" And Copilot said, "Well, these are the best ways to use me." Kind of printed it all out on screen, and I followed its advice, and I found that I've been following its advice ever since. It's a really, really easy piece of software to use. As someone who is a accessibility and usability expert, interacting with Copilot has been tremendously easy for me. I just find it so useful. It's so similar to how we use so many other products out there at the moment. I sound like a super champion, but because it's really changed kind of the state of mind I was in prior to having access to this tool. It's kind of given me my confidence back in meetings and recording meetings. It's kind of changed my approach to how I do things in meetings. And all I can say is the experience has been amazing and it's been easy.
Can you please show us how you use AI in your daily lives? Daily work, I should say.
So I work with a lot of governmental organizations, national level governmental organizations, various different spaces, UK policing, government services, military, and NHS. It's very difficult for me to show exactly what I do because a lot of these services, it's not something that I can readily put out there. But what I can do is explain, how Copilot is helping me do those jobs. So I've actually got a great example here that I'll be able to kind of show you. So like the place that the way I find Copilot is truly valuable to me is I don't have to focus on constantly taking notes and recording what everyone's saying. My job as a designer means that I'm trying to focus on a concept. I'm trying to get ideas out of people. And when I'm sitting down and like kind of focusing on the nitty gritty of what everyone says and taking those notes, it doesn't put me in design mode. It puts me in capture mode. I'm just like a data capturer with a pen. Knowing that Copilot is running and that I can assemble all those notes and it's going to craft me a great storyline. And, I might have to go in and edit a couple of things here and there, but it's not anything that important that I can't get the meaning or the context of it. So I just find it kind of really super helpful in that space. And then condensing all those notes into something meaningful. Because at the end of a transcript, if I go out after work and I go and read the transcript to convert it into items to do, that takes me ages. It means I have to sit there and literally go through the whole recording again. I have to go down and understand all the notes that have been transcribed. Whereas having a list of outputs that Copilot has created for me, it gives me a bundled objective and I can focus on what I do well, which is creating big pictures. And, I've kind of got a story of something that happens in my notebook over here. So what I'm talking about here is big problems. I'm trying to sort of capture what it is that a designer does with the storyboard that I'm creating over here, and a designer specifically in my sphere, which is an experienced designer. So this board that I showed you is called Big Problems, and it's solving big problems by turning them into achievable little ones. And then I've got this little storyline that I kind of go through, and I take people through this process of what happens and how that converts. And that seems like an obvious thing, but the reason that I'm trying to tell the story is I need other people in the organization to understand what a visual storyteller does, or what any kind of storyteller does. Some of us create it in text, like books. Some of us create it as visuals. Some of us use play and theater. But storylines are what helps humans understand concepts. So that's essentially my big role in organizations. When we're building a a big organizational system, like, you know, when we were going into the NHS, or when we were going into UK policing, or going into any one of these big governmental national services. Those are pretty complex things. They're like really complex for people to get their head around this entire system that has to be built. So I focus on turning those into meaningful metaphors that we can tell in stories, so that when we are trying to explain to people high up in an organization what it is we're trying to achieve, we can show the data people the data diagrams, we can show the design people and experience people the user experiences and what we're expecting the customers to experience. But at the same time, we can create a single storyline thread that is simple enough for everybody on every level to understand. And my job is that translator. I'm the guy that goes in and creates this meaningful story that people can kind of interact with, that gets left behind, that they can always reference back. And so if I'm focused on taking notes and I'm focused on all these other things, I'm not getting those metaphors. I'm not getting to dig into the things that I need to tell those stories in a meaningful way. When I had the accident and I created these memory problems for me, I've really suffered to get into that space. I've either been in a recording space and recording everything in notes, and then I have to go into a creative space, but I don't have the vibe of the people around me, so I'm not generating the same kind of creative input. That like kind of puts you almost in a place of despair. You don't know how to get out of that environment. So my 8-hour days were turning into 12-hour days every day, because I would have all the meetings that I needed to do, and then I would have to translate all those meetings into meaningful storyboards and things that I captured. And it was a huge amount of effort. Copilot has changed that completely for me. You know, being able to use Copilot to assimilate all of that information and know that it's being captured, so that I can reference it quickly and go back to it and add it to my task lists and, you know, create meaningful outputs from a meeting. Output has liberated me in that sense. And now I can focus on being this visual storyteller, this visual translator that's helping people, get the experiences that we're trying to build.
Clearly, we have lots to learn from you, Duncan. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you, Anne.
So far, there's much more to come.
Yeah, I feel like I'm only at the beginning of this journey, but
Indeed.
It's very exciting.
Patricio Escobar, hail from Colombia. Patricio is an inspirational speaker and a DJ. We won't ask him to DJ for us today, but we're going to ask him to talk to us about his disability journey and how he learned all about AI, how he put it to use to increase his productivity and independence. Patricio, welcome.
Hello, Anne. Thank you for having me.
It is great to have you here. We can talk about music later, but AI is now.
Also a YouTuber.
Oh, also
yes,
a YouTuber. Awesome.
A YouTuber without a face, but I'm also a YouTuber. And I'll give you an example in a little bit.
Great. So you two have a great story, an inspirational one, a one of resilience that we all can learn from. You want to tell us all about it?
Well, yes, I want to tell about my story. Patricio is a mountain biker, outdoors person, father. I have 2 children, or not anymore children, but they're still my children. They're 20 and 21. I am 45 years old. And 4 years ago, riding my mountain bike, I used to compete all over the world, actually, and Colombia and international competitions. And on one of those competitions during my training, I crashed. And I crashed and almost died. I broke my neck, actually, C3, C4 vertebrae. Spent 3 months in the ICU, struggling to live. I finally beat all the odds and came over to the other side without any movements from my chest down. So I cannot use my arms and I cannot use my legs and all the rest of the consequences that such a big crash have. which are, various and arduous, but I'm still here fighting. And technology was my great savior, I think. After all of this nightmare, technology was, going into heaven again.
You're not only just here, Patricio, you're thriving, and we're so glad to have you as part of our disability community. Now let's turn our attention to AI. How did you learn about it?
Well, like I told you, once I started to, come to the other side, I embraced technology. I've been a really tech guy all my life. So the first thing that I got on myself was a head mouse, which I'm wearing right now. I have a gyroscopic mouse attached to my head with a byte switch, which I use to move my cursor around the screen and do every other thing like if using a hand with a mouse. So during this process, managing my YouTube channel, I got into the hands of AI thanks to the explosion of ChatGPT. And well, as you know, it's incorporated into Microsoft and Copilot now, so it's already easier now. So I used to take a lot of time to do my YouTube descriptions, titles, and research. And I think one of the best assets that we need to take care of is time. So when we say we need time, especially in the disabled community, anything that saves us time is such a big help. And with Copilot and ChatGPT and AI, it's been so quick to do any other YouTube video. I'm editing and doing descriptions and tags and titles and etc.
I can see that you embrace this fully and you have already experienced the impact of AI. Do you care to demonstrate to us on how you use AI?
Sure. I have two examples here I want to show you. Let me share my screen. Okay, guys, so I wanted to show you how my workflow, I use AI on my YouTube channel. So at the moment I have on my Edge browser, I have my YouTube Studio on the left and I have Copilot on the right. So for this demonstration, I showcase on my YouTube channel different writers, the best writers from Colombia, which compete not only here in Colombia, but also in every place of any competition internationally. So this weekend we had a writer called Camilo Sanchez. He won a race in Costa Rica. So because I wasn't able to go now, because I'm not able to go to the races anymore. For me, it's very difficult to do all the research and all the descriptions. So what I have right here is I made a prompt for a Copilot to make me a YouTube title, description, and the tags explaining how Camilo Sanchez, the writer that I have, won the competition. So what I'll do is I'll copy the text, I'll paste it here. Basically, the prompt says, please make me a YouTube title, description, and tags explaining how Camilo Sanchez won the Costa Rica Open Downhill 2024. For this example, I'm using the more balanced option because it will give me some technical information and it will give us a little bit of spicy creativity to the descriptions. This used to take me a lot of time. I used to struggle, 2-3 hours to do all the research, write the description. And one of the things that AI has is that AI understands the algorithm model from YouTube. So AI knows what sort of descriptions and what sort of titles to write. And that's really difficult. And with AI, as you can see, with AI, I have here a really nice description, a really nice title. The title says Camilo Sanchez dominates the Costa Rica Open Downhill. And I get all the information about that race. What I do is just I copy the title, paste it here on my YouTube studio, done, and then I take the description, copy the description, paste it here, and voila, as simple as that. And when I found this out, I mean, my workflow, my productivity increased so much. I could spend more time on editing, I spend more time on my music, I spend more time on my therapies. I mean, it's just what I say, it's not only artificial intelligence, but also accessible intelligence.
Thank you very much, Patricio. Now we have John Vicandala, my colleague at Microsoft. He is the Principal Software Engineer Manager. John, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about you, Anne?
I'm very well, thanks. You're in a very unique position. You're a technology maker. You also benefit from accessibility. And you know AI. What a cool thing to be able to do all three and do it well. So, John, how do you ensure that the technology that you and your team create are accessible and usable by others?
Thanks, Anne. You're right. I mean, I have been working in the speech and AI space for quite a long time, probably about over 20 years now. I was always just I've always been just I viewed it as building cool futuristic technology. But 3 years ago, something happened to me that really changed my whole perspective on what I do, and in that I had a traumatic brain injury where it affected my vision, my ability to look at things close by. It also affected my ability to concentrate and organize my thoughts. My short-term memory got much worse. And so I kind of moved to a point where I was more of a maker of it to a user of it, because it got to the point where I couldn't actually do my job anymore. It affected everything, like my ability to be a good father, husband, employee, leader. And so after a lot of self-reflection and therapy, I actually discovered that some of the challenges I had all my entire life, I've had in my entire life beyond just due to my traumatic brain injury, and that I am ADHD and I'm also on the autism spectrum, and so then I just started looking at okay, well, how can I use AI and the cool speech stuff I use to adapt what I do to make my life a lot easier. And so there's a lot of things that I have that are obvious, like these tinted glasses to make it easier for me to see. But I also use AI for pretty much everything. I view my brain as kind of this fire hose of creativity that's really difficult to organize. Sometimes I use it to write emails and organize my thoughts, maybe determining the tone of what emails have, summarizing things for me. Sometimes I'll just open up the microphone and just do total stream of consciousness of what's in my head and have it try to, organize those thoughts into something that is more coherent to other people. As a developer, I use it to bounce ideas off of it to see if, maybe I'm on the right path for something or not. And I'll also use it for offloading things I really don't want to do. Like I I really dislike getting my haircut and picking out what haircut to get. So I actually used Copilot to pick my haircut. I think it looks pretty good.
What a wonderful thing to be able to do. I love it. I absolutely love it. We need more developers in AI who have disability. We can never have enough developers with disability that can help create AI that works for everyone. So John, I'm excited to see what you got. Show me, brother.
Will do. So, I'm fortunate to work in AI platform at Microsoft, and we've been spending a lot of effort on trying to make our technology more accessible. And in fact, I have been able to work on some of this, but actually, it's company wide. Like everybody works on this. So I'll show you some of the things that our group has worked on. And there's certainly more coming. I'll share my screen. So this is what we've been working on in AI Studio, in the AI platform team. This is AI Studio is a collection of all our AI products, including cognitive services, speech, vision, Azure OpenAI, and so on, and many other things. So one of the features that we added recently, which I'm extremely excited about, is just dark mode. And this is something I use a lot. So if you hit the little gear button or go to AI Studio settings, there is a option to select a theme, and dark is now an option, which is great because now in using this, I can actually work longer because, as I said before, my eyes are pretty light sensitive. The other features that we added are speech, both text to speech and speech to text. You can get to that by selecting playground settings and acknowledging, acknowledging that you want to enable the feature, and you can select your voice. So I'll give you an example of one way that I use this, in that I'll hit the microphone button, and I actually used this recently. That used AI to do this recently, in that I have, as I said, light sensitivity issues. It's an issue for me when somebody shares their screen in Teams that's white. It hurts my eyes. And so I was trying to find a tactful way of communicating this in Teams so my coworkers would know how I'd like the screen shared with me. So I'll hit the microphone button. I really struggle with light sensitivity. It is difficult for me when someone sends me a screen share on Teams that is all white. Please give me a quick message to put in my team summary so that when people message me, they'll know they need to be careful about what they share with me.
Here is a quick message that you can put in your team summary. Please note that I have light sensitivity and may have difficulty with bright or all-white screen shares. Kindly use dark mode or adjust the brightness if possible. Thank you for your understanding.
And this is great because I literally spent, I tried to write this myself, and I spent a really long time doing it, and this was able to do it for me right away. What's really great about this is that you can hit this view code button if you're a developer, and it'll actually show you source code that you can adapt for building an application yourself. In this case, it's using the Azure Speech Cognitive Services SDK along with the Azure OpenAI SDK. And if you'd like to try this yourself, you can just open up a web browser and type ai.azure.com, and you can reach AI Studio and start building applications yourself.
Thank you, John. Exciting to see what you can do with AI. Another example that I would like to call to your attention that you can learn more about, it is a disability-led example within Microsoft that you externally can also take advantage of. It is an accessibility bot. This is where you can learn all things about accessibility. It is available in the public preview, and we would love for you to start using it and provide us with your feedback. So let's see what Accessibility Bot is all about.
Have you ever wondered how to change a setting inside of one of Microsoft's products for accessibility? Or if you just wanted generic information about Microsoft's products and services regarding accessibility topics? We built the Ask Microsoft Accessibility Bot to be able to help you with all of these different needs. Let me show you how it works. I'm currently on the Ask Microsoft Accessibility webpage, and I can enter a question. I'm running JAWS, so I can have my speech, and I often use dark mode, so I'm going to ask it how to turn dark mode on in Teams.
Question.
And I'll press enter.
And alert, working on it. Ask Microsoft Accessibility. Stop responding button to activate. Press enter.
And it went to a stop responding
Alert,
button.
working on it.
And it's also telling me that it's working on it. We're going to see that the answer is streaming, and every 5 seconds as a screen reader user, we're going to hear that it's working,
on it.
And once it finishes, then we're going to hear the entire answer.
Alert, to turn on dark mode in Microsoft Teams, follow these steps: 1. Open Microsoft Teams. 2. Click on your profile picture. 3. Select quote settings quote from the drop-down menu. 4. Select quote appearance quote, or if you don't see quote appearance quote, select quote general quote. 5. Under quote theme quote, select quote dark quote. This process applies to both a free version of Teams and the version that comes with a Microsoft 365 subscription. If you're using Windows 11, the Teams app will reflect your selected accessibility contrast theme from your Windows settings automatically. You may need to restart the app for the changes to take effect. Detailed instructions are available in Microsoft support guides for changing settings in Microsoft Teams.
In the interest of time, I'm going to press Control to silence that. But what it did is it gave us all of the exact steps, and it also gave us links to the support articles on Microsoft.com. You can ask any question about accessibility of Microsoft's products and services here, and you only get answers directly from Microsoft.com. We really hope you find this bot useful, and you can access it at aka.ms/ASKA11Y.
You can find the Accessibility Bot at aka.ms/ASKA11Y. I would like to ask the panel to provide all of us some guidance, a guidance on how to be successful in AI journey. For those of us who are new to AI, perhaps don't know where to go, how to learn it, what do we need to do to get started in this area of interest? We'll start first with Patricio. Patricio, what guidance do you have for folks?
Well, Anne, I would say that we could call AI not only artificial intelligence, but accessible intelligence, meaning that with the community of the disabled community have such a great asset. I think it's the biggest technological invention that will help the disabled community. And everyone in the disabled community will take advantage of AI if they can try and use it and implement it in their lives in any way. And one of the ways I think is with natural companions, natural being so easy to use, like Copilot, which accompany in our journey through the internet. They can ensure that people with very little technological capabilities can take advantage of AI, and they will save a lot of time, and they will concentrate more on things that are more valuable. Their loved ones, their work, whatever they're doing, everything will be easier and faster if they incorporate AI. And my recommendation is start with Copilot, which is a very simple, intuitive platform that is integrated into a basic use of the internet, which is web browsing. And for anything, that will just be such a marvelous help for the disabled community, because time is such valuable for us I mean, that's enough to convince anyone, I think.
I totally agree with you, Patricio. We need technology to be there for us. So all we have to do is bring our best. Duncan, what about you? Any guidance for others?
I would say, unlike almost every other thing that you learn in the beginning, the easiest way to understand how to work with Copilot and AI is actually to ask the AI itself. As Patricio said, it's incredibly intuitive. You've got a command line and you type in and ask it a question. So my first question was, how do I use you? And that's a question I repeat quite often because of my memory issues. Every time I sit down in front of the AI and I haven't used it for 24 hours, I kind of have to go through the process again until it eventually is going to register into my memory. But it's really, really easy. I simply ask it a question like, what is the best and most effective way to use you? And it comes back with the answers. I've equated it before to using a search engine. It is very much like that, but it's a much more prompt-driven version. I think it's, as far as accessibility and usability go, it is the most accessible, usable design that you can get out there. It's a common pattern that everybody understands. It's a capture box. You type in or talk in, and it produces results for you. Simple as.
And the more you use it, the more comfortable you get. That's for sure. Practice make perfect. Now, John, last but not least, I'm sure you have plenty to share.
Thanks, Anne. The same as what everybody has said so far is that basically just use it. I mean, there's a reason why it's called Copilot, because I mean, it's truly like a Copilot, like an assistant for you. And on Microsoft products, like we're really fortunate that it's integrated in a lot of them, especially like with models like GPT-4, which are really powerful and are able to really provide assistance for certain things. I gave some examples earlier, but really the sky's the limit. Anything you want to try, and a big part of it is actually coming up, learning over time how to structure your prompts and the way that you ask for it to do something, where it can actually understand exactly like what your intent is in asking. And over time, you'll just get better and better answers from it, and you'll have to spend less time trying to explain to it like what you actually want. And the second thing I would say is, if you use one of these products, like don't hesitate to provide feedback. For Microsoft specifically, like we take accessibility very seriously, and we want these products to work really well for the people that need them most. So as a user, you're actually helping everybody else.
Thank you very much. These are all golden nuggets that we all should take to heart. Time flies when we're having fun. I'm afraid I have to call this session to a close. However, I would like to leave you with a couple of thoughts. In order to make AI work for everyone, in order for AI to be accessible and inclusive to all, we need people with disability to be creators, early adopters, and developers. We, Microsoft, can provide technologies, but you, the user, can take it to the next level. It is your imagination that will help perfect AI in a meaningful way. Thank you very much for coming to this session.